Yeah, vigilance means keeping awake. And the Buddha explains the way the disciple who is engaged in intensive training maintains this wakefulness. Okay, during the day, while walking back and forth and sitting, the noble disciple purifies his mind of obstructive states. What are the obstructive states, especially in relation to meditation?
The hindrances?
Exactly, good. The 5 hindrances. What are the 5 hindrances? Can anybody enumerate them?
Sloth and torpor.
Wait, we have to get, it's not enough to get them right, you also have to get them in the right order.
It will.
You have to get them in the right order.
Is ill will, or
You have to get them in the right order.
Sensual lust.
Okay, second. Oh, are you looking on the computer?
No, I'm writing question.
Oh, okay. Second?
craving.
It will.
Okay, ill will. Third.
Restlessness and worry.
You know these quiz shows where
Oh,
if one makes the right answer, it goes with a pleasant bang. But if you get the wrong answer, it goes Okay. We have sensual desire, ill will.
sloth and torpor.
Okay, sloth and torpor.
Restlessness and worry.
Yeah.
Doubt.
Okay, good. Come up for your prize. Okay, so these are the obstructive states, basically the 5 hindrances. And so notice the Buddha says in the directions, he says, walking back and forth and sitting. So even in the Buddha's time, this practice of walking meditation was done quite regularly. And so even today, in a country like Sri Lanka, in the meditation monasteries, like the basic structure where the monk lives, it's called the kuti. Originally it meant a hut, but some of the huts can be not luxurious, but they be made out of stone and with, an inner chamber where the monk will sleep, maybe do his study or whatever. Sometimes they even have a latrine or toilet attached. But then each kuti will have what is called, in Pali will be a chakmana, but in singular they call it a sakma, which means the word chakama means literally walking back and forth. But it's a kind of structure built outside the kuti for walking back and forth. Maybe we translate it as a walkway. If you go to an aranya, or that's a forest monastery in Sri Lanka, you'll see the dwelling places of the monks are like this. This would be the kuti. So we'll have maybe a little toilet or latrine here, maybe a bed here, and a little desk here with a chair. Very simple. Maybe the entrance here, a little, maybe even a little veranda. Then, sometimes outside, sometimes it could be even attached. To the kuti, so that the entrance might be at one end of the sakman. So the sakman will be outside, often it's outside, under the trees, because it's a tropical climate, so you can have it all, use it all season, all year round, except for the rainy season, it's difficult. And then the sakman will be usually about 25, 30 paces long, and this will be made out of soil. There'll be sometimes like a slightly raised stone border around it, and at each end of the sakman there'll be 2 stone slabs raised like seats, so that during the day, or even at night, if it's warm enough, one could sit on the sakman. When you finish your walking meditation, then you could sit on the stone seat. You just take your cushion, put it on the seat, and then when you finish, do enough walking meditation, then one could do a period of sitting meditation. Then when you finish the sitting, then you walk again. So you could do that just back and forth. Then if it gets too cool, then you go back into the kuti. And then when you want to go to sleep, you go into the kuti. And sometimes the kuti will have an attached walkway, even with a covering above it, so that one could do the walking meditation even when it's raining, especially in some of the low country forest monasteries where there's a lot of rain. The kutis will have attached, covered walkways. Okay, so the monk does this walking back and forth and sitting during the day. Okay, then during the first watch of the night, sometimes people ask, what are the times of the first watch of the night? And in the Buddha's day, they didn't have clocks or watches the way we do now. So all we could do is give an approximate answer. Could be from the first watch, let us say from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., or maybe from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. He continues to do his walking meditation and sitting meditation. Then in the middle watch of the night, then again he lies down in the lion's posture. That is, lying on the right side, one foot overlapping the other, mindful and alert, mindful and clearly comprehending. But actually, in my experience, you can't be too mindful or too alert, because then you won't fall asleep. You have to be willing to let the mind sort of drift off. Otherwise, you'll just be sitting there, lying there all night long, trying to go to sleep and wondering, why can't I fall asleep? Because you're too mindful. But one lies down, mindfully lying down, mindfully noting in the mind the time for waking up. So one makes the determination, if we have a clock, to wake up maybe 3 a.m. When one is practicing diligent meditation, it's not too early. Okay, and then when one makes that determination, when the mind becomes really sharp, just you automatically wake up. just as the clock is going 2:59, 2:59, 40 seconds, 50 seconds, 55 seconds, 56, 57, 58, 59, 3 a.m., suddenly you wake up. I'm not that sharp yet. For me, wake up 3 a.m. What time is it? 5 a.m. How did I get here? Okay. So maybe you're sleeping 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. That's the middle watch of the night. Then one wakes up 3 a.m., maybe washes, and then starts to resume the meditation in the last watch of the night, sitting, walking, maybe from 3 a.m., 3:15 a.m., till about 6:30 a.m. Again, walking back and forth and sitting. And when one is practicing very diligently, the amount of sleep that one needs starts to go down. So normally we think, I need 7, 8 hours of sleep. And maybe some people's body is constituted that way. But often one finds when one is practicing very vigorously, if one is keeping the right balance between effort and tranquility, then because the mind is becoming calm and tranquil, that the amount of sleep that one needs becomes reduced. So that one could go from the 7 or 8 hours to 6 hours, 5 hours, and when the meditation really becomes powerful, one could even go to 4 hours, 3 hours. Okay, maybe at this point then I'll pause and ask whether we have any questions on what I've covered so far. Okay, Tracy?
I have a question or an observation.
Yeah, maybe do we have the mobile microphone? Yeah, okay, that's it.
It's in
Press and hold.
press.
And hold.
Yeah, there's something there to press.
I think. Is it on?
Yeah, that's it.
That mind objects are considered sense objects.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really interesting to me because I think in the West, a lot of times we think that this path is about finding better thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
If I have a better thought to be attached to, I'll really be on my way.
Really?
And that if we find the right thought, that we'll be on the path to liberation.
Yeah.
But it really underscores the need to be wary of thinking itself or attachment to thought.
Yeah, though I should add to this that within the process of training, in certain types of meditation, one does use wholesome thoughts as a means to counteract and overcome unwholesome thoughts. For example, somebody has a lot of trouble with anger and ill will, so they will use the thought of connected with loving kindness. So thinking of different people, starting with oneself, a respected person, very close person, neutral people, hostile people. For each one thinks, may these people, may this person be well, may they be happy. And one uses that thought to try to bring up the wholesome feeling, or the good emotion that can counteract the ill will and anger. So we shouldn't just completely reject the role of thought. But of course, one doesn't become attached to the good thoughts, the wholesome thoughts. Any other questions today?
One small question. Why does the Buddha always lie on his right
Oh,
side?
that's an interesting question. I don't actually know. It seems that there's certain, maybe.
The heart is on this side, so when you lie down, you place your heart.
You what?
Place on this side, our heart is this side.
The heart is on the left, or it's on the left side. Yeah. So you raise the heart.
Then we'll put a pressure. We side sleep.
Yeah.
People say that.
Yeah, maybe it's just considered to have a certain like dignity to it.
Well, the stomach and the digestive tract are also asymmetrical. Like food, for instance, in your large intestine starts out going down the right side, comes out the left side. Your stomach is to the left of center. And so if there's something that's building up, say if gas is building up in your stomach and you lie on your left side, you will burp, right? Whereas that won't, you may get pain if you're lying on your right side. Now, Buddha's already said it, so I think he probably doesn't eat so that he can get gas building up in his stomach. So it may be a show of, a matter of security or of, triumph over oneself or one's body or something. It's not being compelled to. It would be more comfortable to be on. If your stomach is bad, it's more comfortable to be on the left side. Right? I think he's probably not.
I've never seen any explanation in terms of the digestive process. In fact, one doesn't find an explanation. It's just that.
Well, he's only eating in the morning.
Yeah.
Right. And so by the time he gets to, by the time when he's going to sleep, the food should have been long gone from the stomach, right?
Yeah.
Right. I suspect that has something to do with it.
Mm-hmm. Maybe if one knows things about physiology, one could give a physiological explanation. But just as it's come down within the Buddhist tradition, it's just considered to be somewhat dignified to sleep on the right side. Do you have an explanation into Chinese Buddhism for that? Why the right side is used?
I was in a press conference once with the Dalai Lama as a reporter, and someone asked that, and he said he thought it had to do with circulation, perhaps, or a belief about circulation.
Perhaps, no.
But he wasn't sure, so you're in good company.
Yeah, well, if the Dalai Lama doesn't. But they might have some explanation within the systems of what they call Ayurvedic medicine, which it's the medicine of both of India and Tibet and Sri Lanka. It's basically the Indian herbal medicine, which also has theories about the primary elements of the body, what they call the humors, bile. Everybody's supposed to be either the predominantly bile constitution, or phlegm constitution, or wind constitution. So maybe it's the right side that's believed to be most suitable for keeping the three humors in balance. But that's just a guess. Okay, let us see. Maybe there are some questions coming from the internet. Okay, it seems that they're arranged in order. Okay, one question one here. What is the distinction between the Patimokkha and the Vinaya? The Vinaya is actually the full code of monastic discipline, whereas the Patimokkha is a selection of rules that's fixed in a particular pattern for observance by bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, monks and nuns. And the Vinaya, we could say, has a broader scope than the Patimokkha. The Patimokkha are the basic rules which form the outline or the framework of the main part of the Vinaya. But the Vinaya contains not just the rules themselves, but it gives explanation of how the rules originated, sort of background story. It gives a word explanation, the meaning of each word in the rules, and it gives various cases in which some cases the rule actually applies, other cases it applies but to a lesser degree, in other cases it doesn't apply at all. And in addition to the Patimokkha and its detailed analysis, the Vinaya also contains a whole body of minor rules which are not in the Patimokkha, and also regulations for the Sangha that are not a matter of observance by individual monks, but regulations for the Sangha to observe together. For example, the rules or regulations for ordination, the regulations for observing the rains retreat, regulations for reciting the Patimokkha, regulations for penalizing a monk or nun who violates some of the rules, and so on. So all of these are within the Vinaya, but not in the Patimokkha. Okay, so that is the distinction. Okay, second question. Could you break down the meaning in Pali of the expression Indriya Samvara? Okay, so the word Indriya means the sense faculties. So the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind are called Indriyas. The word Indriya itself comes from the word Indra. Indra in Vedic Brahmanism, Indra is the chief god, the chief of the gods. And so Indra has the role of governing the other gods. And so the sense faculty has the role of, you say, governing our experience through each of the senses. And so the sense faculty comes to be called Indriya. Then the word Samvara is what is translated as restraint. It means something like keeping guard over, or preventing from flowing out, keeping watch over. Those are some of the implications of samvara, but it's best translated restraint. Okay, that's the second question. Third question, do the obstructive states refer to the five hindrances? We already said that. I think that he must have written that question before we explained the obstructive states.
After.
After. So they didn't hear the explanation?
Maybe need some emphasis.
Somewhat.
Maybe he missed that. But
Okay.
I was debating should I write this question because it's after.
Okay, then the walk path is the word Sakava. Yeah, I'll just write that word. Oops. Lack of mindfulness. Okay, so those are the answers to all the questions. Any other questions? Okay, now we'll continue next week, next Saturday, same time. I want to ask, was everybody here, this is a little bit rhetorical question, was everybody here when I gave the class on the 4 jhanas? Would you want me to repeat the explanation of the jhanas? Or for some maybe it's a new explanation. If you weren't here for the explanation of the jhanas a few years ago, maybe raise your hands so that we should do it. Okay, we'll go over the jhanas again. What I'm going to do is to send to Kaiti. I have like a little table which gives the sort of analysis of the jhanas. So then she'll send it to you when she sends the announcement, or Sutta, when they send the announcement about next class. And then you could print out that table and then we'll go over the table to analyze the jhanas. Okay, so let us end. And then we'll have after lunch today, maybe about 12 o'clock, 12:10, we could have a little discussion period if there are any other questions or points that you'd like to discuss. Okay, so let's end with the sharing of the merits. You can recite along, I think you all have the paper with the verses. Akasa taj umata deva nagam hitika punyantam anumodipha chiram rakantu sasana. Akasa taj umata deva nagam hitika punyantam anumodipha chiram rakantu desana. Akasata chabumata deva nagam hitika punyantam anumodipha chiram rakantu mam param. Etavatacha mehi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe devan modantu sabba sampati siddhya. Etavatacha mehi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe bhutanu modantu sabba sampati siddhya. Etavatacha mehi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe satanu modantu sabba sampati siddhya. Pavagupadaya vichitato etantare satakai upapanna rupya rupicha sanya samino dukha pamuchantu pasantu nibuddhim. Now we can all stand. Okay, then we do 3 bows to the Buddha.
Out of Bande.